Hey, this is Cassie, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout outs to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Hola, habla Cindy, está viendo Deportes TV.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So former unified welterweight superstar boxer Keith "One-Time" Thurman addresses his future plans and how he's going to approach the current landscape of the welterweight division. The welterweight division is the hottest division in all of boxing currently. You could argue that the super welterweight division, 154-pound division, could rival that. And you could also argue the heavyweight division could rival that. And we know as the heavyweight division goes, so does the sport of boxing. But with that said, the super welterweight division doesn't have the same namesake as far as star power. Yes, it's a very deep division, more so for the hardcore boxing fans. But the casual boxing fans can identify with the welterweight landscape and the players in the welterweight division. With that said, Keith Thurman has faced Danny Garcia, who's at the top of the welterweight division, former two-time world champion, two-division world champion, should I say, former WBC welterweight world champion, Danny Swift Garcia. He defeated Danny Swift Garcia. He's also faced two-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Shawn Porter, and he defeated him. He's also faced 8-division world champion, legendary, current WBA welterweight superstar boxer Manny "PAC-MAN" Pacquiao, in which he came up short. That's the only blemish on his resume. That's the last fight. That's the last time we saw Keith Thurman grace the squared circle. So Keith Thurman has faced some of the major players in the division, right? But with that said, Keith Thurman is saying that the welterweight division now, his approach is that everybody's his prey, due to the fact that he was used to being the hunted opposed to being the hunter. He got so comfortable in that position. He says now it's he feels rejuvenated, right? He feels like he's back to his old self when he was, if I got an O and I'm not afraid to let it go, Keith Thurman, right? If you could beat me, beat me. He says he's getting back to that Keith Thurman. The Keith Thurman before he won the world titles. The Keith Thurman that was hungry and calling out other fighters. He says he's looking at the welterweight division as prey. But oddly enough, when unified welterweight WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer Errol Spence Jr. and current undefeated WBO welterweight pound for pound king Terence Crawford are mentioned, Keith Thurman energy is not the same when it comes to those two boxers. And if you're going to face anybody in the division at this point in time to get your career back on track and to make yourself even more relevant, because majority of the boxing world, pundits, fans, feel like Keith Thurman no longer has the hunger and the drive within the sport of boxing. They feel like ever since he won the titles, he started getting injured, he got married, his career took a detour. He doesn't have the same approach. And without doing so, he's admitting that by saying that he feels like he needs to be the hunter now, opposed to being the hunted when he was the unified champion. He says he's getting back to, I got an O and I ain't afraid to let it go, Keith Thurman. He says, I'm getting back to, if you could beat me, beat me, right? He said it was never about me being afraid to lose. He says it was always about, the challenge. And if you the better man and you can stand in front of me, then do so. So he says he's getting back to that version of Keith Thurman. And he says that, the rest of the division is prey. But like I said, what direction is he going to go in? Because the major players in the division are as follows. It's Errol Spence, unified. So you can say he's the top of the welterweight division because he holds 2 titles, the IBF and the WBC, right? And then there's Manny Pacquiao. He's a legend in the sport, but he's on the wrong side of 40, and he just defeated Keith Thurman. Then there's Terence Crawford. who's considered the pound-for-pound king in the sport of boxing. You eliminate Manny Pacquiao from that equation because he just defeated Keith Thurman. That leaves Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, because the other major players in the division are Danny Garcia, Showtime Porter, and that's pretty much it. You could throw in Kell Brook, up-and-coming boxers like Jerron Boots Ennis, up-and-coming rising star Virgil Ortiz. But outside of that, you already beat Danny Garcia, you already beat Sean Porter, so unless you're looking to rematch them, who's the prey? But your energy is not on go when it comes to Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. You're still feeling like the fight with Errol Spence is going to happen one day. And you're saying Terence Crawford still needs to prove himself. So how is Keith Thurman looking to, how do you say, get the fans' attention and change their mindsets from believing that Keith Thurman at this point is just looking to cash out to Keith Thurman is looking to build on his legacy and still be a major player within the sport of boxing? Without directly, if you're saying that they're going to be preyed, then you got to go at the top. But Keith Thurman then responds by saying he wants Manny Pacquiao. See, Manny Pacquiao presents the biggest check, and Manny Pacquiao just beat him. And don't get me wrong, I'm all certain that Keith Thurman, as a competitor, as an athlete, he wants to rectify that loss on his resume to Manny Pacquiao. But that also comes with the biggest check. And to get back to Manny Pacquiao, what better way than to do so by making a big splash by fighting the Terence Crawford and beating the Terence Crawford, fighting the Errol Spence and beating the Errol Spence. Now, we know Errol Spence recently came out and he stated that he truly had no interest in fighting Keith Thurman because at this point in time, because when Keith Thurman had the opportunity and when they were both champions and before he was a champion, he was calling out Keith Thurman refused to give him the opportunity. So it seems like Keith Thurman at this point in time, after he heard Errol Spence say this, is now making mention of Errol Spence's name. Because once upon a time, he was saying that Errol Spence was his version of Manny Pacquiao if he was looked at as the Floyd Mayweather. And he stated that it was going to happen somewhere down the line. Now he's making more mention, seems like, since he feels like Errol Spence is not too keen on fighting him because he lost and he never gave him his opportunity. But I'm sure if Errol Spence is presented the contract and Al Heyman, who's the advisor of both, and the CEO of the PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, right? Like Mikey Garcia, when he went to Al Heyman and demanded the fight with Errol Spence, he got the fight. I'm sure if Keith Thurman did so, Errol Spence would then face Keith Thurman. But Errol Spence doesn't seem too eager to fight Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman chose to freeze him out and act like he didn't exist and continue to make up excuses for he didn't want to fight him. But this is where Keith Thurman needs to direct all his attention and his energy towards Errol Spence, just like Errol Spence used to do to him, and towards Terence Crawford. Because I highly doubt that Manny Pacquiao is going to give him another opportunity. I'm almost certain that Manny Pacquiao is going in the direction of 4-division Mexican superstar world champion, former 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia. That seems more likely for Manny Pacquiao. And then it looks like he's going in the direction of Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. So if he wants to rectify that loss and avenge it, then he's going to need to go through the top of the division, not continue to mention Manny Pacquiao, who presents him the biggest payday. Yeah, I'm sure it's a business, but if you want to get back in that position, what better way to do so? Call out Terence Crawford. It seems as Errol Spence is all but certain to fight Danny Garcia next. So call out Terence Crawford. Push for the Terence Crawford fight. His next opponent is in limbo. Nobody knows who it's going to be. So make it happen. Make it happen. But Keith Thurman stated that he didn't want to fight Terence Crawford coming straight way back because he had too much respect for him. And we all know that's the same sentiments he's going to echo when it comes to Errol Spence. But he's not mentioning that same, he's not reiterating that when it comes to Manny Pacquiao. And like I stated, this puts us all in the mindset that Keith Thurman is just looking to cash out, because Keith Thurman is pushing for a Manny Pacquiao fight immediately, but not these other guys. And you lost to Manny Pacquiao. You haven't lost to Terence Crawford or Errol Spence. So if anybody you should respect at this point in time, it should be Manny Pacquiao. But he presents the biggest check, I believe, for Keith Thurman. So let's see how this all plays out. Keith Thurman says off for injuries, he have to be focused to fight Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. So you don't have to be focused and physically healthy 100% to fight Manny Pacquiao, who just beat you. Sounds fishy to me. But let's see how this all plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Hey, this is Jasmine. Thank you for watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Hola, soy Jasmine. Gracias por ver Sangre Azul Deportes TV. Gracias.